Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Joseph P. Farrell on Thursday, October the 8th, 2015, with news and views from the Nefarium. And this one's a strange one. In fact, I just received this article yesterday from one of my Facebook friends. We'll just call him Mr. EG, but I thought this was really interesting because it didn't get much play, obviously. And it's such a short article that I can read the whole thing to you. But I think at the end of it, you might be wondering what the heck and why now, okay? And I'm going to indulge in my usual high octane speculation, but let me set the context for you. You remember a few years back, a couple years ago, when there was a movement, a popular movement inside of Germany to repatriate its gold from the Federal Reserve. All right. Now, Germany's gold reserves are held by four countries. Germany holds some of it. France, the Bank of France holds some of it. The Bank of England holds some of it. And the New York Federal Reserve Bank holds a great deal of it. And Germany has, according to some estimates, the second largest gold reserves in the world. So there was a move to repatriate all of Germany's gold from France, England, and the United States and bring it back to Germany. And that led to speculations that the gold wasn't in the Federal Reserve because the Federal Reserve, you recall, was demurring and only returning Germany's gold in a trickle. All right. And then other nations joined the bandwagon. We heard similar moves were going on in the Netherlands. We heard Austria doing it. Ecuador did it. Venezuela kicked off the whole thing under Hugo Chavez. So something's going on in the world of gold. So then yesterday we had this article appearing on Business Insider with this headline: Germany made a 2,300 page list detailing every single bar of gold it owns. That's the headline. All right, now here's the article. Germans have been wondering for years about the country's gold holdings abroad. Now the Bundesbank has given them answers. And again, the question is, why now? On Wednesday, the German central bank released a full list of every single one of its gold bars held in Germany, England, France, and New York. You can read the 2,300 page tally, bar listed bar by bar here, and then this article, which I'll link for you, gives a link that you can go to and read this. The list was first reported by Bloomberg's Lorian Kelly. Why would the Bundesbank go to the trouble of compiling such a list? Why indeed? Well, here's the answer of the article. Back in 2012, federal auditors in Germany asked the central bank to take stock of all of its physical gold held outside the country. In other words, this was an order from the German government to the German central bank. Now, if you don't know about the Bundesbank is much more independent of the central government in Germany than even is the Federal Reserve here. In fact, you could simply say the Federal Reserve, while a privately owned bank, is so closely aligned with the government. This is not the case in Germany under the Bundesbank. And the reason why is after World War II, the Reichsbank, which did have such a relationship under the Nazi government, this was disbanded and they changed the laws regarding the central bank in Germany. So this is a little bit of background. But why would the Bundesbank go to such a trouble of compiling a list? Back in 2012, federal auditors in Germany asked the central bank to take stock of all of its physical gold held outside the country. The bank refused, sparking questions about the existence of the gold. As Bloomberg reports, a whole repatriate our gold movement sprung up in Germany, and in 2013, the Bundesbank actually did begin repatriating gold from vaults in the US and France. The report shows that 1/3 of its reserve is now held in Germany at the Bundesbank in Frankfurt. The Bundesbank said it will update the report annually and that it plans to hold half of its reserves in-house by 2020. Until then, We know where to find it, unquote. And that's the article. All right. Now, what's going on here? Well, as you might gather, I have a lot of high octane speculations. In fact, so many of them, I can't even begin to try and summarize them in this short news and views. But I do want to go back and point out to you that there are a number of financial things going on that are very, very strange involving Germany. There's, of course, the Deutsche Bank role in some of the put trading on 9/11. That's very, very suspicious. There's Deutsche Bank's extreme exposure to derivatives. And in fact, there are some people saying that Deutsche Bank might be the next Lehman Brothers in that respect. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And then we had this gold repatriation movement. Now, it's very interesting to me that this article comes out now because that gold repatriation movement sort of dropped off the radar screen, at least not so much in Germany, but at least in terms of the alternative in media. And now the Bundesbank report brings it right back into the public's attention. And folks, I think this is a very interesting timing. We had the German and French and Russian foreign ministers meeting just a few weeks ago about Syria, with France and Germany basically greenlighting the Russian intervention in Syria. All right. So, in other words, I've been saying all along that the economic sanctions and the American unipolarism, particularly in respect to the Ukraine, have been backfiring. It's driving the European allies away. And now we get this report. So, here's what I suspect is going on here. We could have the explanation that this report is designed to restore trust in the central banking system. But if you have paid attention to the article itself, it does all but that. The only thing it's done is it's resurfaced that whole issue of where's the German gold? Who really has it? Does the New York Federal Reserve really have the gold that they say they do? And the Bundesbank is coming out now and saying, here's the gold, here's the inventory, here's the numbers, and we still intend on repatriating half of our gold reserves to Germany by 2020. So in other words, folks, I think this is a huge message, is what I think it is. And the message is directed not primarily at London. You'll notice that it's very interesting how the focus of the article is really on France and, much more importantly, the New York Federal Reserve. I think this is a message. And the other thing that I think this is a message is to all those other countries pondering a similar repatriation move. The last one that I'm aware of that was doing this in Europe was Austria. So I think this is a message that the way to go about doing this and finding out just exactly what's going on with the bullion and with the central banks is to compile these detailed itemized lists of what their inventory supposedly is and then publish them. And I think you're going to see this movement is going to grow because I think somebody may have noticed now that the figures of gold, the paper gold everyone knows, far exceeds the actual physical stocks of gold in existence. What this is doing, I suspect, is sending a message that somebody in the Bundesbank or somebody in the German government, possibly both, now realize that the tallies of physical gold estimates themselves are off and they need to find out what's going on. I think this is a message, therefore, and I think it's a message deliberately timed to come out now as the gold issue was dropping off the radar screen to bring it back to the fore. And I think it's directed very definitely at the New York Federal Reserve. So this is one to watch. I think if I'm reading this situation correctly, you should watch the other central banks, particularly in Europe, particularly in Indonesia and Southeast Asia, Singapore, places like this. I think this is a key move here that's just been made by the Bundesbank. They know something's wrong, and they're letting the world know in a very polite, very organized, very detailed German sort of way. This is going to be a story to watch, and I want everybody to If you do find other stories like this, by all means, send them to me. Anyway, one final announcement. We do have the Secret Space Program conference coming up in about 3 weeks in Bastrop, Texas, just east of Austin. So I hope to see everybody there. I want to thank everybody that's been making some donations. I really appreciate it. It's been a long, rough summer for me. And if it hadn't been for you guys, it would have been much, much worse. So anyway, I wanted to make sure I said a big thank you to all of you. And that's it for today's news and views from the Nefarium. This is Joseph Farrell. I'll see you on the flip side, and God bless.